one of the things that I used for recently was when I had to look over all the freaking contracts with Universal and all of them.
Oh yeah.
Like they sent me stacks on stacks on stacks of contracts and handbooks to review.
Yeah.
What I liked about it is I copy pasted each article, each section, and I just said simplify this so a fifth grader can understand it, and everything was just like, okay, cool. Just understanding like the jargon of all the contracts, because those things get wordy. They also get very technical. There's a whole lawyer speak that can get, for me, like at least like, is this what I think it means?
Yeah.
So that helped out. I saved a lot of time so I can understand, like, one, read the contract.
Yeah.
Two, understand it, and three, sign it in a timely manner. Now I'm not spending the whole week.
Yeah.
That's one of the ways. Like, I found it super, super useful. There's a whole bunch of things that I'm playing with.
I mean, like with our work too, like as a copywriter, it's like my first reaction was, oh shit, I'm out of a job, and then I'm like looking through it. I'm like, no, I just have a buddy for my job, because like I still have to. It's hard when you're writing for a specific people or a specific brand that has a specific voice that isn't like as famous or whatever. It's not like, oh, if I'm gonna be writing for someone as Gary Vee, literally, like that works, right? It's like write an Instagram post in the tone or voice of Gary Vee and using this information, and then boom, there it is. For like me, like with temper tantrum, like I don't know temper tantrum yet, and so it's like there's a specific voice for temper tantrum, so I'll just have it write something, and then I'll take it and then I'll change it anyway. I'm one of those moms that, like, you know, the kids like cleaning up after themselves, and then I clean up after the kids. I'll redo it anyway.
Yeah, that's what I like about it, especially with writing all the copy for the posts. It allows you to be creative in a much more high-end level of like, because there's creating from scratch, which in itself is a different type of creativity. But then there's taking what's already there and enhancing it, which is why like there's like several levels of, like, you know, there's a junior editor, the head editor, senior editor, whatever, senior copywriter and whatnot, because they have the experience. It essentially makes ChatGPT makes everything more like
the junior
ChatGPT is essentially the junior copywriter. Everyone's a senior level, and instead of the creative, they become the creative director of their own thing. Which I think which helps, because sometimes, like, fuck, I don't have an idea right now, and I'm like, all right, cool, and you just literally give it prompts. All right, write a caption about dance, make it inspirational, make it sound like Tony Robbins is writing it, and then give me 12 examples. And then boom, 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 boom. Whereas, like, I know that's the part that might be scary for a lot of like junior copywriters or junior editors in general, because, you know, like, especially with Midjourney and potential AI editing softwares. I think it's I have mixed thoughts about that, but it definitely helps save time in terms of having to come up with things from scratch.
It is pretty nice, especially since, like, if there's a topic that you don't necessarily know too much about, and you're like, just tell me about this, and then it says da 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 da, and you're like, okay, like, what can I pull from that? And then you can go even more in depth, da 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 da. But that's like also like something that I've been kind of using it for my job, for like some of the social media posts. And my what's her name? My boss has actually sent me a link of like how to optimize it even more, like with Canva. So like to to create more posts. And I was like, oh shit, like, man, I thought I was doing okay.
There's also some browser extensions that work in tandem with ChatGPT. A lot of them have to do with like copywriting and like social media and stuff. So I think I sent you an article from Wired like a couple days ago.
There's so many articles. Like the ones I that off the top of my head that I remember that I liked was the Canva one. You literally generate like the 10 quotes and automatically puts it on. Oof. It was on an Excel sheet.
So ChatGPT, what it does, it generates the post for you, and then what you can do, especially since a lot of people nowadays they like having like the pretty quotes and like the text, like in like very nice like writing, or it's pretty, and so like people love reading that. So it's like it does that, generates the post, and then you can upload it to make like multiple posts in like a certain like nice like graphic font or like a very pretty picture, so it like makes it picturesque. And so I was like, whoa. And I know that's something that she had been wanting to do, so I'm like, okay, well now we have a way to do it.
Canva itself is already like a pretty good tool to begin with for like non-graphic designers. But like then with the addition of that, like with ChatGPT, that just makes Canva like way friendlier for people that don't exactly consider themselves creative. Because I helped out I can just drop her name, Jojo Starbuck, former Olympic ice skater. She came to me once. She was like, oh hey, I need help with my social media and blah blah blah. And she also needed help with Canva. And I'm like, oh, it's pretty user friendly, but she's also like, you know, old. So I'm like, oh, so now I have to like explain Canva to her. And she's like, oh, but why can't it be just automatically this, automatically that? I'm like, but we're not there yet. Send it to her now.
Technology is transforming real fast.
And one thing I'm looking forward to, I only know one tool that uses AI for social media. It's called, I think, Social Bakers.
Social bakers?
Yeah.
Like bake man? Bread man?
Bread man.
Yeah. But what their
social bread man.
What their tool does, and I've never used it, but I just saw it, and like I couldn't afford it because their tool is so expensive. At least it's out of our budget.
But what does it do?
What it does, it takes the posts that you're doing, and it projects using AI what you should start posting moving forward.
Oh,
all right.
You should start posting. What do you mean by that?
Like if it's like, okay, this video with this color, with this thing, with this this is just assumption.
So like aesthetic content,
or like
subject
this,
matter, all
this
that.
photo, this color,
So it can predict what might be a good like post together
using the data.
Using your data from your audience. And then it's like, this is going to generate a good post for you.
At least at this right now.
That's cool.
So.
I mean, that's kind of what we do, but it's like
data
very,
analyst.
it's essentially the scientific method. It's like, let's try this. Oh, people like that. We'll do more of this. Let's try this.
Yeah. It's
less of the work of the scientific method.
Yeah. And there's one that I forgot. It's called Meet Cortex.
Oh,
I tested it last summer, and same thing. What do you call it? It's essentially, you give it like your last 500 posts. It looks at everything, and it says posts with this color do better. Posts with videos with this do better. With these,
Take note, friends.
So it's a pretty good tool. Just to give an idea, like these hashtags performed best. These words performed best. Like it really analyzed everything. You can do your TikTok, your YouTube, your Facebook, like your Instagram. It was a pretty good tool. Again, I was just playing around with it because that's honestly out of the budget right now.
I have a friend who is a programmer, and ChatGPT, like knowing that ChatGPT can literally write code for you, doesn't scare him at all. He was like, oh, this can just make my job a lot easier. Instead of like trying to figure out spending hours on end figuring out how to do this one thing, I can just have ChatGPT do it. I'll look over the code, see if it's actually like correct. Put it in. I'm done. I'm free to work on other things.
I think
optimized.
There's also a saying that goes, the tools we design also design us back. So there's also the fear of, I hear it to parents saying this, of kids using this to write papers or all those things. And albeit, like I also know there's just tools that this is where I think before this tools even exist, is even introduced to people, it should be like people should get into the grind of, this is just me being romantic, like the grind of understanding copywriting, understanding how to actually draw in perspective and proper things like that. So that way when they have the tool, it's enhanced and they're not reliant on the tool. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Because there's a whole I think that's one fear of mine, is like people losing the ability to be creative independently from a tool. So Yeah, that's my thought.
But once all of this, like, that makes it easier for you, like, do you actually still want to do it, even if all of those bridges that make it easier for you, if it's gone, like, would you still want to do it?
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, writing from ChatGPT is not perfect, and I think that's what a lot of students don't recognize. They think it's just because they don't. Here's the thing: they get it from ChatGPT, they copy and paste it, and they just kind of like do the formatting, like however, and then they don't do anything. They don't like go. They don't go back in and like read and to like skim it to see if it's actually relevant to what they're to what they're talking. It could look as original. It could be as like check proof as possible, but like, I mean, as someone who proofreads for fun, I do. I enjoy doing little things. It's like I still go back and like rewrite things from ChatGPT, whether if it's for voice or just for grammar. Not that the grammar is not correct, but I'd rather say it like this than this. Like in like whatever context. Like for a paper, a lot of ChatGPT essays are written, especially if you say like write 1,000-word essay for this. They will try to write 1,000 words. Some of those words don't make fucking sense in it. They're all just filler words, and you just don't recognize it. And then ChatGPT is like, here you go. The thing is, it's good, but it's not perfect. So if you're gonna use ChatGPT to write your paper, I won't judge you. But you took a class for this thing, so you should know a little something about this subject. Read through it a little bit and like correct it, so it's still kind of yours.
Yeah. This is where like the whole having a good prompt.
Yeah.
Because knowing that your material for ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Because like, for example, I can't.
This is the ChatGPT version of fix it in pre.
Yeah, that's the way I do it, I think. Yeah, like because the way
Fix it in
the way I
pre.
think about it is like, if I just say like write an Instagram caption about dance, cool, they'll do that. But if I get specific, if I specifically wanted to talk about temper tantrum, the projects we're doing, I will input all of that, so that way it's the exact information I want in the copy, and that way I don't know, it's trying to mitigate any of the mistakes, so that way you're not trying to fix so much.
Yeah.
That also goes to show, like, it's at the end of the day, it's not something you can use that's going to do it perfectly, and you just like, you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Like, you have to put thought into what you're doing here, which is kind of the same for anything. Like, ChatGPT is a tool.
Yeah.
Like a tool, like that helps you. It's not a brain for you to rely on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like you had to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
Like, you had to use your human brain to figure out that I can't just like say X, Y, and Z and then it'll give me exactly what I want. No, you're still like, you still have to cater to it. You still have to, like, give it prompts. You still have to say like, do this, not this, make it shorter, make it longer.
Yeah.
So it's like as much as like people like are afraid that this is going to take over, there's still something about the human mind that technology still can't replace.
Yeah, because it took me a couple of like prompts with when it comes to like temper tantrum posts to get it to basically to get me to the point where I can just go write an write an Instagram caption for temper tantrum for their campaign, in the Google campaign or whatever, and then with the information that's already in that thread that's like saved there, then it can just go, oh, here it is. Yeah. And then it'll just like mention like casually, like it'll casually like drop, like name drop like one of the projects, and it's like, oh, like our project, let's say Yummy or whatever. I'm like, oh, that was from last week when I asked you to do something.
Yeah. That's what I love about ChatGPT. Like when it saves the history of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So whenever with specifically temper tantrum, I have it say, one of the prompts is remember all this information about temper tantrum.
It's learning.
And then I put everything about the bio, who the directors are, like our bios, who's currently in the team, all the projects we've worked on, like by name, like, so that way when I say write up, and then like I literally have a document in the Google Drive, like here's the ChatGPT prompt, and it has everything, and you just boom, so it remembers it, and then when it comes time, it has all the information that it needs to know about said company. So because it sucks, like because I wanted as much as possible to have the not the same information, but like at least some detailed information that it just doesn't know.
Yeah.
So like I wanted to know like, all right, here's the projects you worked on, here's the events you performed at, here's the major big events, here's the people, important characters, and that way it can easily pull, oh, this is Brandon, this is Crystal, this is Lauren, this is our project that we performed at for PBS, things like that.
I started doing that for my day job, not as like extensive as like putting like who's where, like, like names and like any like positions and stuff, because it's a big organization. I don't want to do that. I don't feel like doing that. But I basically fed it like basic information about the organization that I work for, and then and I fed it also a bunch of web copy and some copy from like social media, and I'm like, remember this. And then I'm like, oh, write a social media post about, like a swim class, and then they just have it.
Use ChatGPT. It's actually really
use
really,
AI
really
responsibly.
Cool. It's helpful.
Yes.
Yeah. Use it responsibly.
Yeah.
Don't.
Great power comes great responsibility.
Do you guys see
Thanks, Uncle Ben.
someone using like he 3D printed like a tool to write papers, and then he
Yes.
I was like, God.
Wait,
damn it!
I showed you the one where this person, this guy who's either a photographer or a videographer.
Take note.
Or a videographer. He was like, he had like one of those like IKEA desks with like a little like thin drawer like underneath the desk. I think I sent it to you. He opens it, like there's like organization like little thingies that inserts that either came with it or that he bought, and then it still wasn't optimized enough for him.
Oh, you're talking about the... Oh,
yeah, because there were still like some loose like SD cards or whatever. So he literally emptied it, measured everything. I mean, there was no AI involved in this, but it was just, you said 3D printing, but like measured everything and then put everything into the 3D printer. Everything just fit like a glove. There's little slots for every SD card.
That's
There's
so
there's a
cool.
scissor shaped thing for the scissors.
Wow.
There's a camera shaped thing for the camera, and I'm like,
So the other thing that Lauren brought up was like this kid, just brilliant, like engineer.
An engineer. He engineered a 3D printer to write in his style of handwriting, I'm assuming, on like, and then
Actual
he used
note paper.
note paper, and he used ChatGPT to write like his
Whatever.
essays.
oh my god.
And I'm like, where it's like, of course, like writing a paper won't take that long, but it also goes to show that if you think efficiently, and if you put the effort in, like in a short span of time, then the fruits of your labor will last. Yeah. It's like planting a tree.
Yeah.
Right? It's like planting a tree. Like it takes a lot of time to like foster it to help it grow, but when it fruits,
you got fruit.
You got fruit,
For
and you don't
life.
need to go to the grocery store.
You just reminded me of this one guy that I've been following. I forgot his name.
You're
but
stalking him?
Yes.
Like Joe Goldberg.
I would like to be his friend.